Good morning, Mr. Kidd, Mr. Clark, staff, and students. Coming into our last few weeks of school, time management is going to be key, especially since Ridley can be such a demanding and hectic place. Between morning practices, chapel, classes, meetings, and all of our extracurricular activities, there isn't much time left for ourselves. However, I recently read a story that I thought was very thought-provoking, and I wanted to share it with you today, as I think it will help us all prioritize as we come into the final stretch of the year. A professor began his class by placing a glass jar on the table. Glass jar. He then filled the jar with 2-inch rocks and asked the class if the jar was full. Mr. Clark, would you say this jar is full?
I would say that jar is full.
Just as he did, the students all agreed the jar was full. He then pulled out a small bag of pebbles. Would you like to do it? All right.
I didn't practice this.
Yeah, that's good. Yeah. All right. Now, looking at the jar, would you say this jar is full?
That jar is very full.
The class, bewildered, all replied, yes. He then picked up a bag of sand and poured the sand into the jar. Alright. He then asked the class, if this jar were your life, what would the rocks, pebbles, and the sand all represent to you? In this situation, the rocks are the important things in life. Your family, your partner, your health, your dreams, and your aspirations. The things that give you long-term happiness. The pebbles represent the smaller things. The things that give your life meaning. For instance, your job, your house, your hobbies, and your friendships. The sand is everything else that fills your time. TV, social media, homework, doing errands, or, in Ridley's case, being told to take your ugly Ugg boots off. Hey, Miss Leck? These are the things that give you the temporary happiness. If you place the sand in the jar first, there will be no room for the pebbles or the rocks. The same thing applies to life. If you spend all of your time on the small stuff, you won't have any time for the important things in your life. Recognize what's important and prioritize your time wisely. Time management and prioritization are key factors for success and happiness, both in your personal life and your career. Now is the time to start thinking about who you are, what's important to you, and what makes you happy in life. Research different careers and explore the ones that interest you. Don't focus on materialistic things, because in the end, it doesn't matter. It's just sand. My life was consumed with sports, homework, and assignments before I read this story. I missed out on the important things in my life. I barely saw my family and friends, and when I did, they didn't necessarily have my full attention. Looking back to my years at Ridley, I made a lot of sacrifices in order to be where I am today. But I realize now, moving on to university, is that I'm still going to have the same obstacles in my life. The trick is staying true to yourself and creating a path of your own, rather than following a path that has been predetermined. I guess where I'm going with this is that in life in general, there will always be obstacles that you need to find, and you need to find a balance between what's urgent and what's important to you. Now, don't worry, Mr. Kidd. I'm not telling them to ignore their homework. What I'm saying is that your jar will always have room for sand. However, you need to make time for the rocks. Ridley surrounds us with so much information that it makes it hard for us to focus on what really matters. Everything is handed to us, and we rarely realize what is happening in the real world. I know it may seem like a challenge, but I encourage you all to try a little bit each day to step outside of your bubbles. Try reading at least one article, or even watching a short 2-minute video on what's happening in the rest of the world. The days are long, and the years are short at Ridley, but the memories are everlasting. Your time here is brief, and for the graduates, our days left are numbered. Don't get caught up in the past. You have failed something before. This is our time to experiment and take chances, make mistakes, live a little. Go embarrass yourself by doing a promposal in the dining hall and during lunch. Ridley is an amazing place, filled with mountains of opportunity. Today, and for the rest of this year, I encourage you to go outside of your comfort zone and experience things that will stay with you for the rest of your life. You aren't going to remember the test you got 100% on, or the test you got 45% on. But what you will remember are the teachers who inspired you, your friends who encouraged you, and the satisfaction of helping other people. Today, I began with a story, so I'll leave you with another one. There once was a man who walked by a group of elephants. He noticed that a small rope tied to their legs was the only thing holding them. There were no chains or cages enclosing the elephants, just the ropes. He wondered why the elephants didn't try to escape. He saw a trainer nearby and asked him. The trainer said that when they were young and much smaller, they used the same size ropes to tie them together, and at that age, it was enough to hold them. So the elephants didn't try to get away. As they got older, they believed they could not break away because they failed at this years before. They believed that that rope would still hold them, so they never attempted to escape. The man was astonished. He knew that the elephants could escape at any time, but because they believed that they couldn't, they stayed right where they were. How many of you go through life believing that you can't accomplish something because you failed at it before? Failure is a part of learning. We should never give up in the struggle of life. Don't be afraid to break free of your fears. They're not there to scare you. They're there to let you know that something is worth it. Thank you.